Mobility, the ability to work and communicate remotely, has become increasingly important for business users. To support mobility, modern operating systems must have some method of synchronizing content with the network. For this, Windows 7 provides the Sync Center. Laptops are used more than ever today, and they support features that make them more mobile through increased battery life and connectivity with other devices. The Windows Mobility Center helps with this. Additionally, Windows 7 supports remote management features through the use of Remote Desktop, Remote Assistance, the Microsoft Management Console, and Windows PowerShell. Each of these features is covered in this chapter, where you'll learn about the following topics: understanding mobility, using Remote Desktop, using Remote Assistance, understanding the MMC, and working with Windows PowerShell. The Sync Center, first introduced in Windows Vista, is a tool for managing the offline files configured for your Windows 7 networked clients. Offline files have existed for several versions of Windows, starting with Windows 2000. Using this feature, the user can designate files to be copied onto the local hard disk from the network shares. Then when the remote user reconnects with the network, the local copy of the file needs to be synchronized with the network copy. In previous versions, no tool existed to manage the offline synchronization process with any real flexibility. The Sync Center provides this much-needed management interface. Using the Sync Center, you can do the following, as illustrated on the slide. The Windows Mobility Center is used to configure settings that impact the performance and battery life of your computer. It also shows information about sync partnerships and the ability to connect to external displays or presentation devices such as LCD projectors. The figure shows the Windows Mobility Center. You can access the Mobility Center by pressing the Windows X key simultaneously. Understanding presentation settings. Presentation settings represent a collection of settings that help you ensure a presentation goes smoothly. For example, when they are enabled, a laptop will stay awake and all system notifications will be disabled. This prevents disruptions during the presentation. Windows servers and clients support two types of remote desktop control without the use of third-party applications: Remote Desktop and Remote Assistance. To enable Remote Desktop, click the Start menu, right-click on Computer, and select Properties. Click the Advanced System Settings link on the left menu on the system screen. Select the Remote tab in the System Properties dialog box. Choose either Allow connections from computers running any version of Remote Desktop or Allow connections only from computers running Remote Desktop with network-level authentication, and click OK. After enabling Remote Desktop on the machine, you can connect to it from another Windows client or server using the Remote Desktop Connection application and following these steps. From the desktop, select Start, Accessories, Remote Desktop Connection. In the Remote Desktop Connection dialog box, enter the computer name or IP address of the computer you wish to connect to. Click the Options drop-down arrow to customize the display or configure local resources programs to execute upon connection, and change the experience within the connection, such as graphical richness of the connection. On the General tab, enter the username with which you wish to connect and click Connect. When prompted for credentials, put in the password for the username, and then you might see a certificate cannot be verified warning message. Go ahead and click Yes to trust that, and it will continue the connection. Remote Assistance provides a solution for users or administrators to receive help from someone else using a request or response engine. The user with access to the local desktop interface must request help from another individual before that individual can connect. In a client computing remote assistance scenario, the requesting user is known as the novice and the responding assistant is known as the expert. First, the user must create a request, and then the support professional responds to the request, and the remote assistance is installed and enabled by default. But your request must be created manually. The first step in using remote assistance is to request assistance. You can do that by following this procedure. Log on to the machine as the requesting user, click the Start button, type Windows Remote Assistance in the search field. Once the dialog box is open, you can select Invite someone you trust to help you. If you receive a notice indicating that the computer is not set up to send invitations, click Repair, and it will automatically repair the problem and relaunch the Windows Remote Assistance. Then you'll be able to select Save to save this file as an invitation as a file. Provide a file name and location in the Save As dialog box. The Windows Remote Assistance application window will appear and display a password which the remote assistant will need to access your remote machine. When the assistant receives the invitation generated in the preceding section, they can initiate a connection and enter the password provided. To initiate the connection from a supporting Windows client machine, the assistant simply double-clicks the invitation file and then enters the appropriate password as provided by the requester. The Microsoft Management Console, or MMC, was first released as an add-on for Windows NT and Windows 95. It has been included in every version of Windows since Windows 2000 out of the box. One key feature of many MMC snap-ins is that they can be used to access remote computers as well as the local computer. No shortcut to an empty MMC application exists on the Start menu. To access an empty MMC, simply click Start and type MMC into the search field and press Enter. Ultimately, the MMC is most useful for creating custom consoles. These custom consoles, you can set up your own management interfaces for managing local and remote computers. To create and save a new console, follow these steps. Management functions can be added to your management console by using the Add Remove Snap-in feature. The Add Remove Snap-in feature will allow you to customize your console to provide the management features you would like to enable. So you can follow these steps presented on this slide to create your own management console customized with its own snap-ins. Windows PowerShell is a command line interface. It is designed to provide scripting and the power to accomplish administrative tasks with consistency. Why not simply use the command prompt? One reason is that its commands, unlike those of PowerShell, sometimes use dashes for switches or forward slashes or even double slash dashes. This inconsistency can make it difficult to master. The introduction of Windows PowerShell provides a consistent interface across all utilities and administrative tasks. As you begin to work with Windows PowerShell as an administrator, there are two aspects you must understand. The first is the concept of a commandlet. To know which one best suits the task at hand, you have to know how to get information on the available commandlets and their uses. And to provide technical support, you'll also need to know how to execute PowerShell commands remotely. To see a list of available commandlets, open a Windows PowerShell session and execute the command get command type commandlet. WinRM allows for remote commands. That is, you can enter commandlets on one computer to be executed on a remote computer. To do this, you must first enable Windows Remote Management on both the support computer and the target computer. To enable WinRM, execute the following command at the Windows command prompt with administrator privileges: WinRM quick config. After enable WinRM, you can invoke the invoke commandlet to execute remote commandlets. In this chapter, you'll be understanding mobility, using remote desktop, using remote assistance, understand MMC, and working with Windows PowerShell.